Hi!
Welcome back to Books, Tea and Biscuits with me, Kim.
And me, Jo.
And today's video we're going to be reviewing the two books that we said we'd review for, so we're on week 3 now, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we said I'd be reviewing Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman and Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And Jo's going to be reviewing
Murder Thy Neighbour by James Patterson and Heading Over the Hill by Judy Lee.
So today we have got a cup of tea and we have got a few biscuits on the plate just there on the table.
And we have a cat.
And we have Jo's cat as well because we're at Jo's today. So yeah, hope you're all well and hope you're enjoying the video so far. So we're just going to get straight into it. And because I've still got a full tea, I'm going to let Jo go first with her reviews.
Right, the first one is Heading Over the Hill by Judy Lee. It's one of these like feel-good factor books. It's about some 70-year-olds, a husband and wife, and they're from Ireland. And they come over to the UK, their family, their children are all grown up and married and they live over here. And they come over and they move into a new property and they're not what their neighbours expected. I'll just give you an idea. Billy and Dawny may be in their 70s, but that won't stop them taking chances or starting again. Their grown-up children have lives of their own, so a life near the sea beckons. But the residents of Margot Street don't quite know what to make of their new neighbours. Billy's loud, shiny and huge Harley Davidson looks out of place next to the safe and sensible Honda Jazz next door, and Dawny's never-ending range of outrageous wigs and colourful clothes means she's impossible to miss. They make friendships with all sorts of people in the neighbourhood, except for a couple who are quite horrified at Dawny and Billy, but all the other people within that area take to them because they're kind people and they're fun people, and they do end up getting these neighbours on side. It's a funny book, it's poignant, but it's wonderful. It's a feel-good factor, it's very happy, and it's just a brilliant book, and I would definitely give it 5 out of 5 and suggest that you do read it. You give Judy Lee, she's a good author anyway, she does always this sort of stuff. It'd make a good chick flick actually.
Would you say that book's more towards people that like to read lighter topics?
Yeah. With everything that goes on, you need something that's going to make you feel good. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And I think kids would probably find it a bit boring, but someone in their 30s, 40s onwards would find it fun, would find it good, and there are little bits in it where you can't help but feel a little bit sad. But on the whole, it's a really good read, and it's fun, and it's a happy book, which makes a nice change.
Good. I'll do one of mine now. You got Karma on? I can smell Karma.
I got Karma. I got Karma.
Jo loves Karma. We both love Lush, but Jo really loves Karma.
And I that body cream, and I'm using it as my hand cream.
The book that I'll be reviewing first is the book that I read first out of the two that I've just mentioned, and that is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I actually read the physical copy of this, so I've read all of this book, and I managed to do it not bending the spine, so it looks brand new. But yeah, it's a really good book, and it's not something that I would have usually picked up because I don't usually like sci-fi, and that's what I went in thinking, I'm not going to like this because it's not my type of book, but it's not that at all. It's a completely different, suspenseful, mind-bending fantasy with like a time travel element as well. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about what happened, but just give you my overall opinions on it. So what happens is this scientist, and he wakes up, but he's in a different parallel universe. He's gotten kidnapped. He finds out how he's got kidnapped, why he's got kidnapped, and he has to get back to his wife and child. But every door he opens, every door he goes to is just another parallel universe. So it's him and his wife, but she doesn't recognise who he is. So he's a different version of himself in all of these parallel universes. And he goes through twists and turns. You know, he has to kill about 200 different versions of himself, and even then he struggles to get back to his own life. And then in the end, basically the book doesn't end, so it's written as if there's another one coming out, which there is. I can't remember what it's called, the second one, Recursion, I think. Yeah, it's really poignant at the same time, but really mind-bending. It's really massively written by Blake Crouch as well. I'm just going to quickly read the little bit of the synopsis for you, just so you get an insight into how he wanted to write this and what his message was behind it. So the title, in bold at the top, says, "Are you happy in your life?" Those are the last words Jason Desson hears before the masked abductor knocks him unconscious. Before he awakes to find himself strapped to a gurney, surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits. Before the man he's never met smiles down at him and says, "Welcome back." Is it this world or the other that's the dream? The answer lies in a journey more wondrous and horrifying than anything Jason could have imagined. So yeah, I hope from that this has led you on to wanting to pick up this book. It is really, really good. This was recommended to me by one of my friends and family, somebody close to me, and we made a deal that if I read one of the books I liked, they'd read one of the books I liked, so I got them to read something called Where the Crawdads Sing. So if you've heard of that by Delia Owens, that was our bargaining chip, so I had to read this and I actually really, really liked it. But I wouldn't have picked it up beforehand because just from looking at the cover, because I'm a person that's predominantly led by book covers, just looking at the cover alone, I wouldn't have picked up these books, but it's actually really good. So it just goes to show you that you shouldn't actually judge a book by its cover. Would you have read that book if you...
Yeah, because you know me.
Joe likes sci-fi fantasy anyway.
Yeah,
I like fantasy. Anyway. I like fantasy, but I don't really like sci-fi. But yeah, in the video I mentioned last week, one of the books I'll be reading in the upcoming videos is called Sleeping Giants, which is very much a sci-fi book. But again, that's another one that I had to make a bargain with somebody to read. They'd only read a book that I'd recommended if I'd read that one, so that's coming up in the next couple of videos. But yeah, that's my review on this. 5 stars I'd give this, and that's coming from a book that I wouldn't have usually picked up. So I hope
you'd have definitely gone past that and thought, no.
Yeah, because Joe knows what kind of colours I like, and I wouldn't have picked this up. But yeah, 5 stars from me. Really enjoyed it.
So what age range?
This is definitely young adult. I don't think it's quite adult yet. Definitely young adult, so I believe that's between 13 and 18, isn't it, or 12 to 18. But adults can read it as well. Like, I'm a fully grown woman, and I picked this up and I understood it and I enjoyed it. It could be actually between young adult and adult. I don't think it's quite adult, but then again it does mention copious amounts of intercourse and things like that. So yeah, I think more towards adult actually.
Intimate.
Yeah. Although not too much, but you know, when it is mentioned, it's quite enough. So yeah, 5 stars from me. Really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. If it's one that's on your TBR list and you haven't yet picked it up, I thoroughly recommend that you pick it up. I hope you enjoy it, and just put your feedback down below in the comment section and let me know if you've read this book, what you thought of it as well. Okay, that's my review on Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
Okay, so this one. This is given to me by my cousin. I was at hers sometime last year, and there's another book as well, so she gave me these 2 books and she said they're really good, so I decided to read the one, which is Murder Thy Neighbour. It's typical James Patterson, basically. There is a lady, elderly lady, well, not an elderly lady, she's quite young for her age, and she gets a new neighbour. Unfortunately, similar to the other one yesterday, this neighbour is not particularly considerate. Anne Hoover is a nice woman, but she's come to hate her neighbour. Roy Kirk moved in next door with plans to renovate. But as the weeks go by, his DIY construction turns to shambles, and Roy himself becomes sullen and hostile. When Anne takes him to court, Roy's retaliation is shockingly gruesome. He makes noise, banging about, and he said to her that, you know, he was redecorating, doing everything from scratch, and she started seeing rats in the garden and took him to task over it. But he's not the sort of person that he made people believe he was. He's not like that at all. Even his girlfriend is shocked to find out what he's really like. We all know, if you are a James Patterson fan, you know that something nasty is going to happen. And you know there's going to be somebody who pops the clogs, as it were. And this is no different, but it's very good. It is definitely a psychological thriller, because by the time you realise what's happened, you suddenly, oh my God, I didn't see that. And I'm one of these who tends to always pick up sometimes while I'm reading the book, and I think, oh, that's what's going to happen. And I never thought for 1 second.
So the twist, you didn't expect it?
I knew there was a twist, and I knew somebody was going to die, but the twist, the way it happens, you think, oh my God, that's how it was done. And you don't, you know, I never thought it would happen like that, but it is a good book. I would say it's a definite, because I had no idea how this murder was going to take place. I would definitely give this, sadly, 5 out of 5. I want to show you this. This is the book that I was on about yesterday that I hadn't got, and now I've got it here, which is where it was at mine. Cats in Space, Too Many Gods. But the side thing is Destination Unknown, and it is actually the story of the album Too Many Gods. And at the end of it, you get all the sheet music. Painstakingly done. Painstakingly done. But it is something I will be reviewing later on. So that's what it looks like if anybody was interested. But they're on a big tour at the moment, which starts in July. Just thought I'd mention it.
Okay, and the next book I'm going to be reviewing is a whole journey in itself, and that's Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Now, if anyone's read this book, then you'll just know how not difficult it is to read, but really suspenseful. It's touching, it's funny, but it's also sad in places as well. So it's about this woman called Eleanor Oliphant, and she seems very, not weird, but a bit strange. Like, she's not... she doesn't understand a lot of reality in regards to why people do certain things and why people say certain things. She's very, very intelligent, but you find out that she's like an orphan, and she's got a big scar down her face. And towards the end of the book, which is entitled Bad Days, so I forgot to mention the book's in Good Days and Bad Days, towards the end of the book you find out why she is the way she is and how she's came about to be upper class, but then, you know, living on her own in this dingy 1-bedroom flat house, however it's described in the book, I can't really remember. But it's really, really touching in regards to, all throughout the first half of the book, I'd say, she was kind of grating on me a little bit in regards to the things she was questioning, the things she was doing. So she doesn't have any other clothes really apart from the stuff she wears for work, the shoes she wears, which are like, you put them on an old lady, you know, they don't look right, or well, no, they look completely right to her, but if me or Joe were to see them, or anybody else were to look at them, be like, oh my God, what are you wearing? But that's what she faces every day of her life. And you find out why she is the way she is, because she hasn't known any different. I really, really like this. It has won the Book of the Year in 2017, I believe it was written, winner of the British Book Awards. Over 2 million copies have been sold, I believe now it's over 3 million copies. And the title alone, and the cover of the book, you can see that, you know, it's quite an ambiguous term. Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine, and she's actually not. She's living as if she's fine. She's living day to day, pretending that she's fine, but deep down, she goes through turmoil. You know, in the middle of the book she has this breakdown and you find out why and find out what happens to her. And then the book just ends. But I like that because, you know, you don't get out of it what you perceive the ending's going to be like her familiarity with this character, this other male character in the book, and I was like, oh, they're going to get together, they're going to get together, but you know, you don't actually find out. But I really loved it. So again, I give this 5 stars, and the book cover's covered in stars anyway, gold and black, but I give it 5 stars. I really liked it. I'm just going to read a little bit from the back for you. It's not actually the synopsis, but a few reviews from like the Daily Mail, the Sunday Express and things like that. So the Daily Mail said it's unforgettable, brilliant, funny and life-affirming. The Sunday Express have said, hugely original, a funny and sad tale of a survivor who tackles the challenges of emotional reconnection with grave courage, and it's unmissable. So I think this should be read by anybody who likes reading. It kind of got me out of a reading slump because after I read Dark Matter I didn't read anything for a while, but that's just because of the other hobbies I was doing as well. And then I didn't want to pick up a book, and then I found this actually in a charity shop, and it cost me 50p. So the spine was already broken on this, so I didn't mind bending it. So yeah, I really liked it, and this is going to be one that Joe's going to be reviewing later on in the year, not immediately but later on in the year, because we've still got loads of books on the TBR list that we need to read and review. If anybody else has read this, please either leave a comment on the video, on this video, so leave a comment down below, or just comment on our Instagram or Facebook post as well. Let me know your thoughts on this, what you thought of it and how many stars you gave it. Just want to compare our opinions. So yeah, that was my review on that. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Really sad at the end and really brings you down to earth. Yeah, so thank you for listening to that.
Anybody any age that would read it, do you think? Do you think it just seemed, you know, 30s upwards or something like that?
No, it's definitely a young adult. I think it's written for, like teenagers onwards. Because I've seen this in, it's not particularly aimed at adults because there's no adult themes in regards to, you know, intimacy and things like that. The adult theme itself, as you can tell from the cover, I don't want to go into too much detail, but just from the cover alone and the burnt matchsticks of what's going to happen or what's perceived in the book. But, you know, the top, it doesn't go on to it too much because the bad days throughout the book is just literally 1/3 of the book, where the other 2/3 of the mentions of good days.
That's a good way of doing it.
So yeah, I'd say young adult onwards, so not necessarily adult, only aiming to adults, but yeah, I believe this is a young adult book. I've mentioned the Catsman's Facebook that she's going to be reviewing soon. The books that I'll be reviewing soon, I haven't actually got them with me, but I'll put a picture somewhere here by my head, because I forgot to bring them today, but I'll be reviewing Paper Girls, the comic book by Brian K. Vaughan.
Oh yeah, you haven't done that yet.
I haven't done that yet, no. Brian K. Vaughan, I can't remember the other names, I'll put them here somewhere. And I will be reviewing The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham, but that's only a really thin book, so I might find something else to sneak in there because they're both thin books anyway. The comic book's about 50 pages long, which you can read for breakfast. The Day of the Triffids will take me a couple of days to read. As I mentioned last week, I do work full time, so I only have a short amount of time to read. I'll see what other small books I've got that I can fit in. Probably one that I haven't mentioned, but I'll let you know in due course. Oh, there's Maisie. I jumped then because I didn't see her coming up. But if anyone wants to meet Maisie, here we go. Maisie. Say hello, Maisie. You're Joe's cat.
Come on.
So yeah, I'll let you know if I add another one into the list. But until then, guys, thank you for watching the video. Comment down below any thoughts, any questions, or even if you just like the video, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and continue to keep reading and enjoy. Take care, bye bye.